person on Facebook.
Hello, my fellow immigrants. We are here, the Immigrant Boss show, and everything that you need to know about what's happening for you in the United States, everything about economics, some news, and of course, a little bit how to build a business here and what is the most important facts about building a business and doing a great job here in the United States. So today, I have with me Jorge Reyes. He is an expert in the financial industry and he's gonna share a lot of tips and tricks about this for you. I have Julieta Wenzel here.
Hi.
She is the healer. She is the witch.
Like it.
Okay. She makes everybody looks and feel good. And I have Yamilet Strauss.
Hey,
with
hello.
the Merchants Process Solutions, and she also is going to help us to understand a little bit how to build our business here. Jorge.
Georgie. That's right. How you doing?
This is my Brazilian accent, Jorge.
I love it. I love the Brazilian, Portuguese accent. I love it.
So we're gonna start a little bit, guys, here in the Immigrant Boss. We try to bring you some news. So the first segment that we have here is talking about some polemic news. I don't know if you want to talk about polemic news. You want to talk about polemic news, Julieta?
Let's talk about anything. Let's just talk.
Julieta,
You just talk and heal. That's what you have.
Yes.
That's a whole other subject because words are power. You all joke that I'm a witch. I am and I'm not, and I am. But what do witches do? They cast spells.
Yeah.
What do we do with words? We spell words. Like words are spells. Every word that comes out of your mouth is powerful. So choose your words wisely.
Guys, a little golden nugget here, and it's very important. So let's choose wisely how we're going to discuss those news.
Right.
So let me bring this to you guys. So let me put this one here on the screen. Boom. So this is the bill called like 1718 Florida.
Yeah.
Every immigrant is completely freaking out right now because people, they don't know too much about the law and they even don't know too much how to work with the law. So, clarify a law or a situation like this is extremely important for you to know how to manage yourself, how to manage your business and bring it to the reality of things.
Correct.
So, Jorge, tell me a little bit more about this law, 1718.
Well, the 718 is just approved by the state legislature, which is very, very, there's going to be a change in how the workers and the immigration will start being here in the state of Florida. Especially because when you see that the law can punish the businesses with a fine of $10,000 per employee that they are hiring illegally, that could bring a lot of heat, especially to the businesses as well as the immigration, as the immigrants that are trying to come here to the state to make a living, and they just want to provide. And usually it's 99% of those guys that they come to the state or they come to the States to work, to make a living and send money abroad to satisfy their families there. It's tough. It's going to be tough, and I'm saying that it's going to be a lot of political heat that Governor DeSantis is going to be facing for, the primaries and for the Republican, elections in next year.
Even though, because the immigrants in general, they support very much the Republicans right now, correct? So I see them supporting a lot.
But remember, there is something that politically, right? Every immigrant that is coming, especially from South America, they are facing which is called the socialism. They don't want to be there because they don't see their rights are protected. They don't see the way they are living there is not correct. That sometimes there is no water, there is no power, there is no any in Brazil, in Venezuela, in Central America, in Mexico. No matter what is happening from Mexico to Patagonia, they are feeling the heat and they're trying to come here. The other news, I don't know if you have it there, yesterday was the border right now between the United States and Mexico is out of control.
Yeah.
It's completely out of control. People say that it's open. I believe it's open. There's no way for the United States to control what is happening between 2 and 3 million people trying to cross is out of control. No matter what they try to say, that is going.
And that's very interesting because in general, right now, I know that throughout the time, the immigrants, the immigrants that's lawful here in the United States, they started supporting a little bit more the Republicans because they represent a little bit freedom of speech.
Correct.
They represent a little bit the capitalism, right? Or at least they represent the antagonists of,
That's a good word. If you see the difference there, because they want to work, they want to provide. I mean, that's the capitalism system. It's not the socialist system. They are waiting for some people to tell you, oh, take a couple of bucks and I will maintain you every month or every week. That is a system that is already corrupted in Cuba and Venezuela and in many countries that already, they know. That's why they come here.
And even
they don't want to live there.
Even Brazil right now, we start freaking out because what's happening there is like, it's a communist party that took over. And like we see a lot of Brazilians starting like say, hey, what am I going to do?
That's right.
Yami, what do you think?
It's happening in Colombia. We just had a president who would support the
Petro,
left for the first time. And, Colombia is known for a more than a third world country. We are an economy in work. We really, and, with the issues now with Venezuela, but now with Petro on board, is very uncertain for Colombians what's going to happen.
Right.
I have a lot of family in Colombia and they don't know whether they should sell their properties and leave, if they should give him another chance. Like, it's a lot of uncertainty in what's going on.
That's right.
And obviously it's not just the politically uncertainty, but also what Venezuela has done, not just as an impact in Colombia economically, but in Peru and Chile. I mean, Venezuelans all over
Latin America,
including here. And if you think about it, I've been in this country since I was 14 years old, and I've known a lot of Venezuelans. And the Venezuelans that you knew that were coming to the States were all the people that were rich and they had the
professional
properties.
people, especially professional.
They wanted
they have a profession.
They were sending their kids to do their education here, so they didn't have to validate it, and all that changed after the 80s. Years. Right? It started in the 80s with what was the name of your president that was so mean that died?
Caldera was the guy who died.
No, after Caldera. And
Chavez?
Chavez.
Yeah. But let's not talk about that. That's a subject. I don't want anybody wants to talk about Chavez, any president from Venezuela.
What I'm saying is, it's happening in Colombia. It's happening in Brazil. And it's also because it started happening. Cuba has a lot to do with what happened in Colombia.
That's the heart. That's the problem.
That's the cancer.
That's the cancer. That's where everything starts.
For any country to think that Cuba can negotiate the peace of another country is just absurd.
Completely.
And that's my point. So we have to pick back a little bit about this law because what we're talking is very interesting. And, where is the right balance? Because, again, I think even for us as immigrants, completely open all the frontiers is not what we are looking for. We are looking for like a stable country, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I know that a lot of the guys that comes, they are related to the crime associations,
Correct.
Like they come to the frontiers in the south. Anyways, so we will want the right balance. And right now discussing this law is like, okay, what the guys is gonna say is, but what I'm telling you is, I want the immigrants to be a lawful immigrant in terms of their work visa, right? In their work status. Why is it wrong?
I'm scared about what's going to happen because I'm going to tell you what. Right. The immigrants is what really gets the local economy to thrive. And if we don't have those immigrants that satisfies those works, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I talked to
two sectors, construction, agriculture, right?
Right, in hospitality. Let's think about this. People would just go to a restaurant and hope to be, washing dishes or whatever without thinking that they needed these papers. I speak with restaurant owners and they said no. If you don't have a social security number, I can give you employment because I can get into, especially since yesterday.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of fine. They don't want to get $10,000 fine per employee that they do.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but every business owner that I know that needs employees are all struggling to find people to do the work now. And so then we take all these people out of the pool. You can't use them.
Yeah.
And listen, the phenomenon of the pandemic. How many people that were legal in hospitality don't want to do those jobs anymore?
Yeah.
They found other ways to do it, and a lot of people deserted those careers. Now, the ones that want to satisfy it and don't have papers and they need to work. And, business owners want to be able to get a loophole to be able, because it's so hard to get help nowadays.
Because I think that's great and I understand the struggle, but what will be the element that we can solve it? Because again, we know that having people working without, a proper status is not I don't know if it's as good as it could potentially be for the country as well. Mm-hmm. What is the gap? Where we need to meet? I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, say, okay, you want to have this bill, that's amazing, but create an opening for them to become in a legal status. Of course, even if it costs them to work more, to work extra hours, even if it costs them to pay even more taxes than the normal American, I think people will take this opportunity with the opportunity as of their lives, and it will really push the development of the country. What do you think?
Well, let's also remember that not every immigrant that comes has the same status.
Yes,
if you come legally, you literally, the first thing as a tourist that you can do, if you're thinking about staying, it's opening that bank account.
Yes.
It is opening a prepaid credit card. It's establishing who you are in this country, because there's a thing that you can apply called the TIN number. And if you don't have a social security number, you can still pay taxes. Okay. But that action only, that you do that, it's such a good credit when you put your case to get your papers done, because you always pay your taxes, because you have a record. There's a lot of people that come in from other places as investors, and they want to buy businesses, and then they get it. The hurdle is, I don't have credit. I can't get a merchant account. How do I do this? And you can do it. It takes time for an immigrant to build history, but they can build it and they can do it. There is a way to do it.
Jorge, if you were with Ron DeSantis right now, what would be?
Don't put me, please don't put me in that chair right now.
What would be the message? That you're gonna say?
If you were in front of him,
in an educated conversation. In an educated conversation, if he opened a little bit to have a conversation with you,
wow,
what do you say to him?
Well, the first things that I do when I see things like this happen, right, is what is going on here. I mean, let's see, I like that the way the witches talk about healing, and what is going on here in terms of why he's pushing this law in the state, and the only concern, or let's say the answer to that, is he's throwing a dart to the federal, to the president, to see what he's going to do with the border. That's mainly a political game, right? When you see that, okay, now let's see what Biden, is going to do, because I don't want more immigrants here, no matter what. Everybody knows the border is open. That's why he's trying to protect the state in a way that, okay, no more immigrants. It's going to be a hit.
And again,
it's in the business side.
I think the message is not necessarily no more immigrants. I think the message is no more immigrant that comes in a way that's not organized, right?
That's right.
So
no more illegals. Let's put it this way. No more illegals in the state. We have a lot already. We know the hit is in the businesses. Everything is, and the state's growing like crazy. Based on Tallahassee, we are receiving in the state 800 families per day.
That are moving from our front. They're not immigrants, though.
That's right. Per day. But immigrants to the state. Mm-hmm. People from Michigan, Americans, Latinos, any culture
Canadians.
Right now.
We have a lot of Canadians.
Mexicans. The border between U.S. and Mexico is still the trading border most important in the world. 2.5 million people cross between the United States and Mexico. 2.5 million people a month. Could you imagine the control that you have just to know who is crossing the border 2.5 legally? I'm talking about trucking services, restaurants, food, everything that is still a trading partner between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, which is a free trade of the Americas. They call it that way. Is just amazing the way that they trade goods and services. Now imagine what is going to happen to the state. Let's wait for the answer on Biden. Now I think politically that's what he's doing.
Okay.
Now in terms of credit, she's right. I mean, every immigrant that comes here has to be able to create his own American dream. I think it's still intact. More than welcome. I'm pretty sure, the Americans always say it. Come to the States if you want to work, if you want to make it good, if you want to be part of the, the economy. More than welcome to see you here investing, buying businesses, restaurants, spas, wellness centers, whatever you want, because this is a great country. And we are all here, and everybody wants to make a living and provide to their families in a real way. Nobody wants to crime, shut out like the way it is right now. Nobody wants to live in New York. Nobody wants to live in California. Why they're coming here?
But let's talk about that. You just hit the point. So reckless. So we talking about a governor that had just passed this bill about immigrants, but he at the same time also passed a bill like at midnight where you can carry a gun with no permit. That is, and we're talking about the crime in the state. Come on. It's like daily you hear people getting shot in 95. It's scary.
Well, and I think you just hit the big word is scary. Like all of this, the source of all of this is fear.
Right.
It's fear.
It's fear.
These laws get passed because of fear. And speaking as the witch over here, the only solution for any of these problems is love. And we have to learn to love our fellow man. Like we're all one. And, this whole like us separating, like Americans, we've tried to separate ourselves, isolate us from the rest, put this protective bubble around us from the rest of the world. Like if we all realize like we're all humans on this planet working together,
right?
None of these problems would exist.
That's why we need more women.
We have to have one subject just
we need
for
one woman
topic,
leading.
one day, a specific program just for that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Only to talk about love.
Yeah.
And how to apply love.
How it's not working worldwide, because that's the main problem.
Okay, we're living from fear.
Let's come to this this other news here. I think it's interesting and it's related to the subject. So I have here, it's a CNBC.com.
Yeah.
How can new immigrants to the U.S. build their credit? I'm not going to get to this right now, but I would like to say how important it is to build a credit. And the credit score is something that sometimes in other countries, we don't even know what it is. We don't have it. In Brazil, we don't have it. So how important it is to build your credit here and what it is. And then after, go into the next segment, we're going to see how can we do to build it, okay?
Beautiful.
Jorge.
It is, wow, build a credit here when you come to the United States as an immigrant or as a, investor is right now top priority. If you don't come here, the way that you have to build your credit, no matter what is for personal reasons or for business reasons, you have to get advice on how to do it properly. One of the most important aspects when we talk about the credit is how I start. You have to, the ignition of the car, right? Now you know how to drive the car. Now you have to know the laws on where you are driving the car. And now you have to get from one point A to point B. And that's one of the most important factors when you are building your credit. It's the same. You have to start with a process to, get this, like Yami just said, NPS processing knows perfectly how to create for a business, which is a way to collect income from their goods or services. You have to open an account. You have to start. Number one is tax identification number for you personally. If you don't have a social security number, if you're waiting for your documents to get processed, because the backlog that is in the government and the federal government for immigration, everything is a process. And sometimes when you start the right way, I would say tax identification number is the number one priority for a person when it comes here. Number two, immediately get it for your business.
Why it is important? This is the question.
Well, it's important because that's the only way to build the credit.
Establish, right? You can't establish credit if you don't take that step.
But why establish a credit here in the United States?
Oh, because if you don't, okay, so I always tell my clients, if you don't have good credit and you don't have a good record in your license, you don't count. Literally,
that's it.
You don't count in this country.
And that's the point.
You amount to nothing.
I don't know if you saw this series on Netflix called Black Mirror. Have you saw it?
No.
Pretty cool. And then they talk about like a completely parallel type of universe. And one of the episodes is there is a score. It's a social media score that people can see everyone and they can judge everyone.
Okay.
As a social media score. So as much higher a score, you can have more access to life. You can have more access to a house. So for example, if you have a score 4, we're not going to be able to join that community or that building that you want to live, or not going to join the university that you want to study. So credit score is very interesting because there's this series that's a little bit about this. Like, it's a way for people to give you access. So if you have a good credit score here in the United States, you have been judged. It's a way for people to judge you and your character, which is a little bit mean, right? So
but you have to be careful with that word, Augusto, because the country doesn't judge you. It's yourself. You are the one who pays on time your bills or not.
Right.
That's my point. Yeah.
You have to be careful how you use that word. Because when the person, myself, yourself, right, we have a social security number, that's the way to build your credit, right? If you don't pay your bills or your credit cards, you are, no matter what, the failure is in you.
Yeah, and that's a good point. But again, it's one angle, and that's why I tell that sometimes it's mean because you're so.
You can't get a rent. You can't rent an apartment. Yes. You can't buy a car. You can't have
anything.
An account. You can't have anything if you don't have credit.
Right.
You know something that happened to me. This is a real story. I didn't know anything about credit score, and because I put in an automated payment, some stuff, and it didn't went through. I was not as connected to this necessity that someone that knew about credit score would do. Anyways, it was a bill of $20 in my didn't pass through.
Yeah.
And
the automated payment. Man, I got punished for 2 years because of $15 bill.
Well, there's a way to fix that.
Yeah.
The people doesn't know now. And you're going to know that in the future podcasts that we do.
Yeah.
Because that's perfectly fine. There is no way for you to feel, no, I'm lost. I can't do anything because I didn't pay $20 for auto pay. They don't understand me. I don't understand them. And I try to call the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Experience, or Equifax, and they don't know how to fix it. Everybody will have the ability to fix that. There are websites right now. There are credit report agencies, free. There are like a non-profit organizations in every state that they can help you to do that, especially for immigration. For immigrants that they don't speak very well English or they don't know how to fix that.
But let me tell you this: I consider myself a very smart person. Okay,
I know you are,
and I could not figure out back then, and one thing brings another thing.
Yeah,
and you are working every day, and at the end of the day, I stayed 2 years. Yeah. I stayed 2 years without having a proper. And again, I'm pretty well connected, and I try a little bit here and there. I didn't accomplish, and say, you know what? I know I'm started building now I know how to build my credit. Let me do it, and that's very important for you if you are an immigrant that's coming to the United States today.
That's right.
It's an extremely important element. You're gonna understand, man. If you are a jackass, and if you have a great credit score, you're going to have more access than someone that have a beautiful heart, do a lot for the community, but miss some bills. You understand?
But you're still a jackass. That's the main problem.
What is not? But the point is, at the end of the day, is know how to work within the system, right?
Yeah.
So when you mentioned this to me, know how to work. There's a system. There is a game that you're playing in the United States. Know a little bit the rules of the game that you are in the United States, right, George?
And when you compare that to any other country, specifically Latin America, right? There is no way to play that game. Like you said in Brazil, right?
Yes.
How can I build credit in Brazil if I don't have a credit system?
Yes.
how I play the game in Colombia.
No, Colombia
If
has
you don't have
system.
cash, that's what I'm saying. They are dead. There's a dead end. And you say, I don't know how to get it. I don't know how to improve my lifestyle or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's a different system. The socialism and the capitalism are completely two different animals. And we have to understand the difference and how to play the game. The capitalism system is a game of credit. If you don't build credit, if you are not on top of your credit, you are not going to succeed. No matter what you try to pay everything, in perfect shape. I have cash. I pay everything, perfectly. I don't need credit. That's what, when you talk to the Latino community, it's almost, no, I don't need credit. No, I don't need that. When they start struggling, it will happen in a restaurant, especially. And they have to put money from their pocket to the restaurant. Yeah, they do it. Yeah. They do it 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, 2 years. And after that, you're going to start, the guy is going to say, oh my God, I made a mistake here. Why didn't I get a line of credit? Why didn't I get a business credit? Why didn't I do anything with the restaurant? Right now, I want to sell it. And it's no value here.
Yes. So again, guys, the value. That's why you need to build a good credit score for you and for your business, is to get access. To buy a car, you're going to need to analyze your credit score. And if you don't have a good credit score, you're going to pay a lot more expensive for the same car. To rent a house, if you want to live with your family, to rent a legit house, people's going to evaluate this. Again, to have access to your life in the United States, build your credit score. And sometimes you can start building your credit score even if you are still in your country. There's some ways for you to open your business account coming as a tourism, open an IC number, and some different ways. Okay, this is why. Now, let's go to the golden nuggets of knowledge, the Immigrant Boss. But before we go to the golden nuggets of knowledge, I'll tell you a little bit about Herowired Studios. This beautiful show have been done here in the Herowired Studios, which is in Fort Lauderdale, is one of our sponsors. So if you want to do your show and if you want to create your podcast, you can come here, join us, and create your own show. Herowired Studios, Fort Lauderdale.
Beautiful place, Augusto.
Thank you, man. So, now is a golden nuggets. George, it's all about you, Yami, and Julieta to share the facts and how to build a good credit.
Yeah. Well, the facts, if we have going to talk about golden nuggets itself, number one, TIN number, social security number, or business EIN. Those are the three aspects that you have to consider every time you try to build your credit or your business credit. Number two, get some assistance immediately on how to open an account, processing account. If you have a business, you need that. You need to have a very legit kind of system that works on your side in your business, no matter what business you have. Small businesses in the United States is a category that is, if you are doing gross sales less than $500 million a year, you are considered a small business. It's huge. 90% of the economy in the United States is a small business economy. And that's what 80% of the employee comes from the small business. Everybody has to understand that building the EIN, employer identification number, get that, always in your mind in the way that you have to build your EIN as your social security number. Since the pandemic, and this is number three.
A lot of people forget it, right? A lot of people forget it, that if they want to get into the business industry here, building their EIN number is extremely important, correct?
I think it's more important right now than the personal social security number.
Why this?
Because if you go right now to a bank, and that's happening since the pandemic. Okay, I want a credit card. Well, let me see your social security number. Yeah, I can give you $2,000 credit card. You have 745 credit score. But if you have a business and the business is producing some income, let's say between $500,000 and $1 million a year, they consider give you a credit card for $50,000. The access to credit, and that's the third golden nugget, is depending on your EIN and your social security number. How do you want to explore more options for you? If you have a EIN and you are visible, and that's the fourth golden nugget that I can tell you today, is how can I be visible in the financial market as an EIN? You have to understand that as well as there are some personal credit bureaus, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, also they call it search data-driven companies, that they are they call it right now in the marketplace that way, but they are really what is called the business credit bureaus. And the number one in the marketplace right now is called Dun & Bradstreet. Right. There is a website that you can produce there for the people to understand that is, you are visible in that website as a business, okay? You are in the financial market visible. Visibility here is a key. It's the same way when you have a social security number and you run your personal credit, but you don't have scores. And that happens a lot to the Latino community. They contact us, Jorge, I don't know what is going on with my credit score. I don't see my scores. Say, what? How long you have been with the social security number? No, 5 years. Some things that you have to understand, and they are struggling to find out why is that happening. And they don't have the people that assist in them. And there are free websites and everything for you to do that. If you don't need more help, you can contact us, of course, and we can help you to get your visibility in the marketplace as a EIN, as a business, as a personal social security number. Those are the 4 aspects. And the last one, always as a golden nugget, is try to get the help immediately. When you have a business, especially as a business, try to put the most you can leverage in your business as a part of your paying for the raw materials. Let's say for the food in a restaurant, try to get a line of credit, pay for the raw materials, which is the food, and sell it to the price that you are willing to sell it in your menu. That's when you are going to really see what is the income or the net income that you are making between what is costing you the food and what you are selling as a final product, which is the menu, right? Any plate, appetizers, or entries that you want to sell to your customers. Then you're going to start understanding, and I have seen that many times when I ask the owners of the restaurants, especially Yamilet knows that too because she's processing those restaurants. Are you making money here? And they're struggling to find out, yes, but no, I put the price there because I think it's fair. Wow, you have to check. You have to understand some financials, basic financials, to know that the cost is higher than the price that you are selling to the public. Because it's not only the food, it's the rent, it's the power, it's the phone system, it's the employees. Everything that you have here is a cost. And you have direct costs, indirect costs, and how you produce that. And when they start seeing, when it makes sense, now they say, okay, let me try to get a line of credit, pay for the food, and now I know how much I have to make and sell the product. And that's when I start seeing, especially for Loro and Miami, these 2 counties, Miami-Dade and Broward, that the Latino community are starting to understand how the game is played. I cannot lose money. I want to make money. I want to go to a quality product, which is amazing. You start seeing new restaurants here in the area, especially Latino restaurants, which have very high quality products, which is a food that you don't find in other places. And that competition is what is going to create new leaders in the marketplace.
So basically, be using the financial system is one way for you to get the credit score approved, right? So use it. Like start with a credit card. Start to
Let's put it this way. This is a business for you that you just started, right? The podcast. 2 programs, right? Yeah. You want to be in 2 years with full day, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. What about if we use a system that it will satisfy you financially and it's going to grow the business and your numbers are going to skyrocket? Not only because the podcast has been viewed by more people, it's because the quality that you are bringing to the table are going to bring more announcers, more sponsors, and at the end of the day, you are using the money that is not from your pocket, it's from the system. And you are going to make more money. And that's how Walmart was created. The big companies in the United States were created the same way. That's the capitalism. And we have to understand that. When we understand that, everybody is going to start making money the right way. If you don't do it, it's because something is not going, let's put it this way. Something is going wrong inside, not outside the system.
Tell me if it's a myth or if it's a fact. Leasing a car will improve your credit score.
Yes.
That's
it's not a fact. It's real. It's real.
It's real.
And today,
financing a car as well, right?
Both ways.
Both ways.
Well,
You get a
depends on,
credit score.
because you cannot convince a person that in his mindset, okay, and that's something that maybe the healer can say about the mindset, when they said, oh, no, I want to own. The Latino community always says, I want to own a house. I want to own a car. I don't want anything, 100% financing. I want to feel that it's part of my nature, my DNA, right? Yeah. And I believe it's better to lease a car.
Yes.
At the end of the day, no matter what inflation
is. The cost of doing business.
Of course. Of course. And today's world, after the pandemic, I see everything change completely. I see more people getting out of the car on their name and putting in the name of the company.
I've always had my cars on the company.
You're a smart girl. That's another story. But that's the way to do it. Don't use, and I always say that as a slogan, use your business EIN number and forget that your social security number is part of your business. Has to separate that. Mm-hmm. If you're working every day, going from 1 million to another million, going to 1 BNA million to another BNA, no, that's part of your daily routine. And you are making money there. It's your company. You are selling your products. You are selling your podcast. You are looking for more investors. You're looking for more. That has to be implemented on your business as a part of the cost.
Myth or facts? Coming to the United States, get as much credit cards as you can at once.
You can. That's a myth.
When you say as you can.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
If you can get 10 credit cards, get them all, or get only one. What do you recommend? I
would recommend always, to get good credit cards.
Okay.
Not all of the credit cards. When you start applying, and people understand, especially the credit score change, the credit score system is depending on inquiries. If you have one inquiry, is between 4 and 8 points that goes to the system, right? And it's an algorithm. You have to understand, and we have to tell the people that there is no one behind the scenes in the credit bureaus that is calculating your credit score. Because sometimes when they say, no, I know that if I pay my credit card today, $2,000 or $500, tomorrow, those guys up there in Washington are going to change my credit score. I say, who told you that? No. There's no one there. They don't care about your credit score. It's a system. It's an algorithm. It's a mathematical algorithm. How works it? Well, it's simple. If you have everything paid on time, if you don't have too many inquiries, the system tells you 2 inquiries a year are enough. If you have more than 2 inquiries a year, of course, your score is going to drop, right? And everything is based on the system. When you play the system rules and you know that, and the way that you're asking the question, too many credit cards, how many points you want to get, deducted from your score?
My point is, one of the mistakes that I made...
too many credit cards?
No, it was too few. Because what happened was, I only get one, right?
Yeah.
And then when I started having access to credit cards, I stayed with one for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I get the second one, the third one, the fourth one. Because having a bigger number of credit cards help your credit score. But when I did this, it lowered the timing, the average timing for credit that I have access. So when I get...
But look at the mistake that you make, right? Because that's important for the audience to understand that. What was your income when you apply for a credit card? They ask you, what is your annual income? That's the first question. That's part of the algorithm, right?
Yes.
But for the audience to understand. If you put there 120,000, 20% is only the maximum amount that you can access to credit personally.
Okay.
But the second question is, do you pay a rent or you have a mortgage? Right. That is deducted from there. It's automatically. The application is already a trick for the people who are going to get a credit card. And that's what I get the questions all the time. Why I get a credit card for just $500? How was your annual income? How was your cost of living? It's impacting, at the end of the day, 20% of your net income before taxes is what you have access to credit.
That's cool. Yummy. Julieta, what do you think about the credit score, Julieta? Because we didn't get the opinion of the witch about credit score.
I love that.
Well, ultimately, we're going to go back to the same thing. Our economic system is created out of fear. It's not created out of love. And it's just like this self-perpetuating fear soup. And it holds humanity back. We need systems and structures to operate as humans for where we are at on a spiritual awakened level. And things will be different one day when more people awaken. But for now, it's the system that we have to live in. And, I will say, like, as you're talking, I think it's a well-known fact that those of us who live in this spiritual healer giving world, we all struggle with, I don't want to look at numbers. Like, that's not interesting to me. I want to help people heal. And so we as healers are a huge community that need help in that financial world and getting us to, like, you don't like it, but you need to do it to function. It's a struggle for us.
It has to be part of the healing. Numbers.
Can you see, guys, only in the Immigrant Boss show, you can see there's diverse opinions that includes energy about economics and love. It's cool. Guys, we're going to go for our next segment. And it's all about George right now, to see a little bit his story, his history back in Venezuela. And we're going to know everything about him. So stay connected. Right now, it's about him. Oh. Jorge.
It's Georgie or Georgie?
Georgie is good for my accent, my Brazilian, Portuguese accent.
Yeah, especially when a woman tells me that.
So tell me a little bit more about you. I know that since a young age, you were always looking up to the United States, right? Since you did your studies into the financial industry back in Venezuela, right?
Correct.
You were always looking up to the United States. Tell me a little bit. Come back in time for your 20s and 25
That's right.
years old. So tell me a little bit more what you have done back then, what studies you have done back then.
Well, my story is as an immigrant, right? Because I consider myself as an immigrant in this country, and I consider everybody here in this country as a part of that immigration process. No matter what, it's from 100 years, for 200 years, for 20 or 2 years ago. And that's what I like a lot about your name of the show, Immigrant Boss. For the people to understand that. It's not that, I just came here, I jumped the fence and I'm illegal, I'm not immigrant. No, you are illegal, but you are going to become legal. That has to be in your mindset.
It depends on you, right?
If that is not in your mindset, call the healer. He can help you to do that and to get there. That's very important, right? But my story is amazing because I was blessed by my family. They gave me a great education in Venezuela. I was, completely blessed from my friends and my childhood. And I started at a young age as a junior broker, as a part of the financial world in Venezuela. It was small, but it was an oil country at that moment. It was a country that was growing, not the most important in the world. But the partnership that they were having with countries like the United States were perfectly fine. It was amazing how huge U.S. corporations and European corporations, Asian corporations, were helping the country to get in the right foot, okay? Especially in the commodities, oil, and mining, gold, silver. And Venezuela is rich as a country. I always say that below the surface. Because if you go above the surface in Venezuela, you want to go back below. Because politically it's a mess, right?
I see.
And when I saw that in the 90s, when I finished my career and I started working as a junior broker, as an investment banker.
And you were around the United States, right? So you did your studies back in Venezuela.
Correct.
And you jump into an opportunity in the United States, correct?
Correct. I went to NYU. I went to New York. I studied there finance specialization. I started working in New York as an investment banker. And that's how my life started.
Yeah,
right?
And when you move to the United States, Venezuela were still a democratic country, right?
Correct.
Still a good country to live.
Yeah. It was a coup in 1992.
Okay.
Which I don't want to say the persons that did the coup. It was a military guy, right?
Okay.
That he created a mess. That was a time that the Democratic president felt the heat that something was going on because the country was not going to. Let's not say I don't want to say it was not the right direction. I say it was a lot of inflation at the time. Oil prices were very low, and when you see a country like Venezuela and any other country, but it still happens the same too.
Yes.
Commodity prices are the part of the economy. When you have a lot of great commodity prices, the demand is there, the country is better. When there is not happening that, and that's part when they call that system is a democratic socialist party.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it changed a lot in the last 20 years. In the 90s, every political party in Venezuela and in Latin America was called Democratic Socialist Party. And it was not like
which is a misleading way to say democratic because it's not democratic.
That's right. And that's why I said, things are working fine here, but let me explore other options abroad. I always was fascinated by the financial markets. I decided to go to New York. I did my specialization there. And then finally I started working there. And I said, okay, how can I contribute as a Latino United States? And that's the immigration process started, right? From a student visa to a working visa, and from the working visa to a resident status, and from the resident status, you jump to finally the citizenship.
And it's not easy, right? So it's all a process, and you have to have the right mindset to be focused on that, and then work every step, and have a little bit some guidance as well, because some people, they came here and they don't have the right guidance in terms of the immigration laws and what they can do,
correct,
how they can put themselves into a legal status, correct?
Always there is a lot of challenges in the middle, right? And everybody has the different challenges. But at the end of the day, you have to know the system. And the immigration system here is, I think, is one of the best systems in the world because it allows you to come here as a tourist and stay here for 6 months for European, or apply or renew your tourist visa for 6 months. Whatever you see here is so easy for people to understand that. That's why I see a lot of people try to stay here, because this is a system that if you go to Switzerland, if you stay in Switzerland 6 months, 6 months and 1 day, they're going to kick you out. They're going to find you in the country, and they're going to say, you are illegal here. You have to leave. No matter what you try or you hide, they're looking for you because they know how to run your credit. They know how to, where are you right now? And that happens a lot in France, in Germany and those countries, that they don't want more illegal people there. No matter what you stay for a reason or not, here the system is completely different. It has to be played by the game. And when I see illegal here, people coming, they know how to get the parole. They know everything. And it's a fee, $250 for a form to fill the application. Sometimes they don't need to, I don't need advice, or I don't need a lawyer to do that. And I recommend you always try to look for the right help.
Right help.
Because if you do it the wrong way, it will cost you time and money again to do it the right way.
Back then, you have this knowledge, you have this understanding, or you have been acquiring this little by little. Probably you came, you were doing...
I came as a tourist, remember that, right? I came as a student when I decided to stay here.
Yes.
And then to become a resident, I have to pass a time to, I cannot do it from a tourist, as a student to resident, right? I had to work.
But you were so focused and you were so hungry to get it, because the guys, I see that they offer you an opportunity really fast, right?
Oh, yeah, right away. Thanks God.
So what happened?
Well, remember, when you see financial people, or sometimes when you have the right relationships and connections, that's the financial world at the end of the day. If you know the right people in the right country, and you know how to get in and do deals, because that's the most important part in the financial and the investment banking world. How you get, to do a deal, no matter what you have it in your mind, the structure, the financial structure and everything, it's not a teaching, you already have the knowledge that is part of your DNA, as a part of the whole life that you have been doing as a part of the system. Because for me, the financial world it's in me. It's in my DNA already. I get the knowledge, yes. I get all the background that I have already established in my DNA, and I know how to talk to people financially in a way that they understand how we can do it or not. At that time, it was very simple for me to talk to any banker and say, hey, you have it. let's go. Let's start bringing clients from Latin America. And it was very funny because the first bank that gave me a job, and the guy said, you're going to Venezuela? Yes. Okay, perfect. As soon as you go there, let us know if you can bring any clients. I say, what? Yeah. Let me know if you are able or not, because if you are not able, maybe you don't need to come back here. You know,
your job is not available anymore.
Yeah, well, that's the system. You know, it's like when you get a trainee and on Wall Street, if you don't produce money in the next 3-6 months, they call it trainee at that time. Right now, it's like an internship.
Yeah,
you're not going to get the job. Okay, so the internship is over. Now you have to find another way to do your career or whatever.
So you start doing this, like structuring, like financials for like funding big transactions.
Capital raising, investment banking has many different options, right? I mean, the most important part is capital raising. The second one is investments as a, funding, or right now called ETF. At that time was called mutual funds or hedge funds. It changed a lot in the last 20 years. But at the end of the day, is how you put those products in for the client, for the final client.
And you offer this overseas for our clients in Venezuela and
yes,
Latin America, right? So
financial institutions,
yes,
and individuals or corporations.
But big corporation, right?
Oh yeah, we are talking about major oil companies in Venezuela or Ecuador or Peru.
Explain to me a little bit one deal that you have done for people they can follow a little bit, understand. What was your work back then? So you went to you work in simple words for the average Joe like me.
Yeah, wow, that's for like anybody, is a deal. The financial deals are, let's put it this way, this perspective. Let's say that you owe money at your company, right? $2 million, and you don't have the money, but you want to reach an agreement, a settlement with, in this case, with the creditor, the person who gave you the chance to spend $2 million.
Yes.
How can I do that? How can I pay you right now? And there are ways always that we learn, in as a part of the financial mindset that we have. Okay, what about if I give you this, but you don't see it? But you can play with this, but you don't want to take it.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, it has a value. I will keep it because that's my collateral, right?
Okay.
You're going to pay me back. So I'm going to use this product, and she's going to buy it.
An asset, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what is the restructuring. When you start restructuring debt,
okay,
and a lot of companies owe more money than you can imagine. Let's say an oil company, Pemex in Mexico, right? Pemex in Mexico was having $6 billion to pay to suppliers,
okay,
right? Which are contractors. But they don't have the money to pay them right now. They don't have the $6 billion. No matter what they try, they have to go to the financial market and say, who can help me to pay to my supplier? Because I don't want them to stop bringing the services to us on the products. We have to keep running and working here. Okay, we create, which is called, at that time, it's still the same name, special purpose vehicles. You issue notes in the name of Pemex, and Pemex take that note and pay the suppliers, and the notes go to the secondary market. Only happens in the U.S. You have to be careful with that, right? Because those products, that's why everybody wants to come here. When you talk to those companies, they say, how can you do that? I mean, you're going to issue a paper on my name and you're going to pay the suppliers using that paper that is just on my name and not have to pay any cash? No, that's it.
It's very interesting. It's like having the knowledge of the financial industry. And then I know that while we were doing that, you start bringing your family over the United States, right? Because Venezuela started having some crash. You have started having some problems into the politics and the economics of Venezuela.
Correct.
And you were a kind of, lighthouse for your family.
I have been in the financial markets all my life in Venezuela, right? I mean, I was back and forth, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil. I worked with Petrobras. I was with many companies that they were looking the way to satisfy their needs, local needs. Venezuela happens something completely different. And sometimes when I speak to that, I get very, inside me is like we couldn't do more because the politics always intervene or intertwine with another ideas that you consider are more important, but always collide. And that's why it's so whatever. I don't want to say the word here, but it's important for the people to understand that brings us more heat here as Latinos here, especially in the United States. How we can satisfy the needs of our local people if you don't want them to come here. It happens the other way around.
Yeah.
I have to provide to my families, especially the satisfaction of living well. If I feel here, and I'm living very well here in the United States, right? Because I work here. I made my since, coming the real way. Why my brother is suffering so much? Her sister, my cousin, my mother. And that's when you start creating the plan to bring your family here the legal way, right? Let's apply for a working visa. Let's make an investment here. There are many ways here that you can satisfy your family, especially in the investment world. So today you have like a EB5 programs when you invest $500,000 and you can come here with your family. And a lot of people has done that in the past. But it's still, those programs are too tight right now. And I start, bringing my family. My family start bringing here, legally, working, buying businesses. And now everybody's here happily ever after, right? And when they go back and they see the picture there, wow, we are safe.
And we see that, coming as the first generation or the first, let's say, wave of person, like you get a little bit more challenges, but at the end of the day, you facilitate a little bit more for the guy that comes after you, right? Do you feel this? And what is the satisfaction that you have today to say to yourself, hey, man, I could bring my people, fortunately, because we know how Venezuela is right now, and they're living, a good life or a fair life, or, how do you feel today?
Well, I feel blessed. That's the first thing. I feel healed. I feel I don't have any, nothing is in my bag like I'm carrying, stones. I cannot do it. I feel like everybody's happy and making a living here. Everybody has their own problems, of course. Sure. And at the end of the day, family is growing here in the United States. It's an immigration process that when you talk to my niece or my, people that is part, they were born already here, it's like tell me more about Venezuela. Tell me more, uncle, about what happened there. They want to know more. And it's always like, okay, where we're going to eat some arepas, when we're going to eat some, ajiaco. It's like they are very well enriching the culture. They are not part of the culture anymore because they are not there. Yeah. But they feel like a necessity to know more about that. And that is a huge satisfaction when you were one of the pioneers of your family to do that, right?
That's beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Do you feel the same, Yami? Did you have a little bit of similar process for you?
Well, I came to the States at 13 with my twin sister. And today I am living the American dream.
That's right.
I am the American dream. So, and there were struggles, of course. But I also was very fortunate. I was able to take advantage of the system. I was awarded scholarships to go to college, and I was able to finish my career. I went all the way to my MBA. And I learned though about credit the bad way.
The bad way.
Yeah, I have to say that, now that I own a financial company, you're young and when you're young and you were my age, you love them all. So you start establishing credit and you sign up for Victoria's Secret and and that's the worst thing you can do. Store credit cards are the worst credit cards to have. Don't ever sign them up. I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
So I literally messed up my credit when I was like 19, 20. And I had to learn the right way.
I would say that I did the same.
I had to learn the right way. But I also was going through a business management class. And I took everything my professor that said to me to like the rule of living, So he taught me to pay myself first. I've always paid myself first. He told me, don't live too far from where you work. That's the worst mistake people make. Make sure that you can have 6 months of income to put away in a money market. So if anything happened, you have access. So all this little plan that he put out there for us, and I will never forget this class, is what made me not only, okay, I need to clean my credit. Okay, I was 18 and I that's why I learned credit and driver's license are important. In New York, I used to get tickets and I used to just put them in my glove compartment. And at one point, it was like 2,000 tickets. I was losing my license. So I had to come in front of a judge and tell the judge that I was a student. And if I, could not resolve the situation, I was not going to be able to go to school. I wasn't going to be able to go to work. And I didn't realize I neglected it because I didn't know. I was young, and I didn't know. And it was like a $3,000 bill that he literally reduced to $150 when I was 18, 19.
You see, but that's good. That's the system.
That's the system. The system.
Sometimes we learn the hard way. Sometimes we learn the real way. But at the end of the day, she learned from the system. And that's what you maybe, as your name of the program is, try to learn from the system. Don't fight the system. Too many people here always are saying, the system doesn't work. The system is, not doing the things that I want them to do. But you are fighting the system. You are not trying to play the game of the system.
Right. You need to learn how to navigate the system in America. And that's really it.
So fast forward, I know that you were working in this, investment banks, big deals, but to make a life change for you, since 2017.
Correct.
And it's also the biggest challenge that you have been facing since then. So mention a little bit how it happened for you to get out of the big financial system and start to thinking about, let me help a little bit the small guy.
Yeah,
what it is, how it represents for you.
Well, first of all, it's a shock when you make that decision in your life, and you have a family to provide, you have everything. You say, okay, why I have to do that, and I'm really sure to do that. I mean, it's scary. It's like I'm really good at this, or it's going to be like another failure here.
It's called Latin Credit, right?
Latin Credits. That's the business. Yeah.
So you decided to open this business, which is a funding. Can you explain a little bit more? Sure. What is the category of the business that you are in now?
Well, LatinCredits.com was created in 2017, 18. That's the main process when I started everything. But it really complete when COVID really created the monster that is growing right now and eating part of the system and the marketplace every day. Why? Because it's an online lending brokerage platform, which is the beauty that you can go to only one website, especially if you are in the Latino community. It's a Spanish, English website already translated to you guys. The way that you can really find it, one thing, loans. I want to apply for a loan, which is préstamos, and we always said to the clients, business or non or personal, apply. 42 lenders are in the website waiting for you. And we find a way to really satisfy the needs of the applicants just to tell them, apply. You go to a website because it's different when you say, and that's a mindset that I always try to change.
But how it happened for you to, get out of the protection of this, this corporate job that you have,
that's right.
And say, man, right now I'm going to start all over a small business because it's less than $500 million.
Well, let me tell you,
and then how it happens. It is more about a mission. It was an opportunity that you saw that was a gap in the marketplace. Why you make this change?
Well, the change came when I realized that already what I was doing was minimal, right, in terms of the investment banking. Investment banking, especially in our careers, financial careers and the investment banking careers are like a softball, baseball players, right? You could be a star when you are 18 to 35, 40, and then start going down. Because it's not about what you have not accomplished, because you can accomplish a lot of deals, a lot of, things that happen in your life. It's because the young generation is coming to another level of knowledge, number one, And second, technology. It has changed a lot, completely.
Okay.
I remember when I used to take, tickets for buying products, financial products, just by hand. Okay, what is your name? Okay, yes, Jessica. Okay, how many shares you want to buy? Okay, perfect. Let me put it here. Do you want something else? No. Okay, send me your driver's license and I will put it in the system.
You remember the knuckle busters for credit
That's right.
cards?
That's what I'm saying. That changed today and to another completely level, right? And I saw the technology changing so fast in the financial industry that what I come up with the idea to do something different and to help, especially the Latino community, because most of the time, every time I was doing the deal in Colombia specifically, right? Colombia is very conservative as a mindset, as a people from the Colombian people. Investments are, oh no, I'm the most conservative guy here in Latin America. And they were well spoken, and they always try to say, no, too much risk. No matter what the risk in the country is, the highest one, maybe one of the top highest risks in Latin America, they always try to do that. It's because they don't have the knowledge. They believe more in the person that are making the investment, no matter what is Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley or any bank, is the relationship that you are building. Mm-hmm. But they don't have the knowledge on the product. They don't have the knowledge of what is going on inside the product, who is backing up that product, how that product is configured in terms of the protection that you need in case of something happens. Because I learned always, like you, Yami, the hard way, always look for the worst case scenario. That's when I start. When I create landing credits, I was always, what is the worst case scenario? That I was lose $50,000, $100,000 to start the process? Because that's something that you have to come up. Always there is going to be an out-of-pocket investment to a start. Startups are very difficult to manage, especially in the United States. I always do my research, from 100 companies, one startup only survive. I mean, you can find that like a very challenge, especially in the United States, how to survive in a way that you are going to be just 1%, if you have the chance. Because sometimes it has to be another cycle.
Yes. Like
2018. 2008 was horrible for the startups.
And that's when I started that's when I registered with First Data. And I realized I was...
But opportunities arise when you find a niche. And that's what I start talking to myself, to my people that I know, partners or associates. Let's do this. I know a lot of bankers, and how can we do this? How can we change this? How we can create the platform? Technology. Everything was doing manually at the beginning. 2017 for me was to people and me, to crew, and say, okay, I'm going to see this client, I'm going to see that client, and let's start, not in that technology-based platform. It was everything manually. Let's send a letter, let's send this, mailing. Now it's completely a technology. It's a platform where we have from where we came. It's completely different. And imagine that right now, you are going to a bank to get a credit card, right? Now you can go to Latin Credits or Credit Karma or Near Wallet, whatever is the platform, and you can apply online, and those credit cards are coming to you.
Yes.
That's the same. And that's the mindset. You have to change your mindset. Don't go to the bank to ask for a loan. Go to a website. What
was the biggest lesson as an entrepreneur you got since 2017? What was the most important lesson or the most important thing that you think to be thriving into this business? Right now, how many people do you have?
As employees?
Yes.
3.
You have 3 employees?
I don't want more. No.
Okay, but you have a platform.
But I learned lessons, right? That you said. Try to get, no overstaff. Try to always get everything, outside the box. If you need a marketing agency, don't put it inside. Hire one guy that is good, no matter what you are going to pay for that person, and get everything, outside. Independent contractors, or try to hire a company that is very well known and you have the feeling, because marketing companies call me every week. Hey, I know that your website is going to be amazing. I have the product for you. I have the capabilities to put you on another level, which is the scale up. I always try, and that's the lesson. to get there is going to be a challenge. That's my challenge today. And that's a lesson that I'm still there learning the process, because technology changed completely the whole ball game.
What is the vision? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what you are looking to accomplish?
Well, look at that. I am very tied to the Latino community, right? And I have all the research. I have been talking to Telemundo, to Univision, to all the media companies that I believe are part of the system, right? The Latino community. Especially when you know already and you have the research and you study the research that we are 60 million Latinos in the United States. We are the major force, the biggest minority right now in the economy, in the U.S. economy, is the Latino community. If all the people that are listening to your program understand that, it means that for you, for him, for everybody here, we have 60 million people to serve. She's doing a good job processing companies. She's getting all the restaurants in the Latino community. How many more you believe are going to happen? Well, the research, and this is what you have to scale and learn the lessons, right? And be prepared as an entrepreneur. We are going to be 100 million Latino members in 2030. 7 years from now, the only population that is to grow more than 50% is the Latino community in the United States. It's a number that is going to be astonished to everybody, and that's where, I don't know if you feel that, every aspect of any company in the Latino community, especially the American people, wants to get a piece of it. Because it's very simple. Numbers are going to be increasing, more Latino communities are coming, and getting established a business is not just a tourist or a second residence. They want to get established. They want to play the game, and they have to understand the rules. That's the only part, right? That sometimes people don't understand that. But that's where you can play that game. And I know you're going to be very successful, and maybe another topics are going to be happening. But the entrepreneurship is there. If you know how to play, if you have the research, always do a research. Always. Don't get in a business if you don't have a research. That's the main rule that I always tell people. Are you going to open a restaurant here, a Mexican restaurant? How many restaurants are here, Mexican restaurants in the area? Why more restaurants in the area? What are going to be your prices comparing with some other prices? What is the processing? Are you satisfied with what you're doing, or you're paying too much or too less? Always try to squeeze everything in numbers there to make money, because that's what you want, right? If you are here in the United States and the capitalism of the world is to make money, and everybody that comes here to make money and live happily ever after is, let's do it the right way.
That's great, guys. So if you want to make money, follow the Immigrant Boss show. It's us. I think it's a right time to create a podcast like this, right? So if you see there's this beautiful future for the future. So guys, let's come, Yamilet, the last words and how we can find you.
Well, you can find me in social media. You can find me on my website, processmps.com. And what I can tell you is I got into this business because I really like to help people. I love to help businesses. And when I go into a business, I truly impact the business and I show them how. Credit card processing and credit cards come together, right? You go and you sign up for a credit card because you want to get rewards, right? And who pays those rewards? The merchants that you're going to visit. Well, that's changing. It's a new program called the surcharge program, where now you're going to be in charge of paying for your own rewards. Believe it or not. So now in Dade County and in Broward County, do not get angry. Do understand this is the system, just like we talked. Right. Now, the people that are going to be starting to pay the transaction fee, that percentage, that 3% is going to come from the cardholder. And the merchant is going to allow to lower the processing rates as much as possible.
That's great, guys. So if you need someone that knows a little bit everything about merchant process and as a merchant process solutions, come to her.
That's right.
Julieta, Last words, and how can we find you? And of course, everything is about love.
It's always about love. And you can find me. I have my own podcast with my co-host Graciela called The Voices of the Goddess. We'd love for you to listen to us. And I do Soul Candy. If you need some healing beads in your life or some healing art, come visit soulcandy.love. And I'm also the Magical PT. You can find me at bodyandsoulpt.com.
George,
beautiful.
Right now it's with you.
I love that, right, Benjamin?
Last words.
Sounds like, last words. LarryCredits.com. That's the last word that you have to go. Go there. Apply for a loan if you need a loan. If you want to check your credit, we just charge $4.99 to check your credit in the 3 bureaus to see where you can get to. If you need money right now, go to LarryCredits.com and we can help you.
Okay, guys, and I am Augusto Alagia, the captain. We own the Captain Painter, so if you want to create a painting company in the United States, you can come to us. And we also own Herowired Studios here in Fort Lauderdale. So if you want to create a show, if you want to create a podcast, or develop a little bit your marketing into this beautiful space, you can come to us, Herowired. Thank you very much, and I'm waiting for you for our next episode, the Immigrant Boss, where you can find everything about how to be successful here in the United States.
Woo. All right, it is hurt.